I don't normally do sit down videos, but hey guys, I just wanted to sit down and tell you guys a little bit about my skin story and my journey with Accutane, because I know there's a lot of people who are considering Accutane or who want to take it themselves. And at least when I started Accutane, I was definitely looking for advice on what skincare to use. I'm also going to do a separate video on that. I just wanted to share with you my story and let you know that you're not alone if you have acne or skin problems. I am in the same boat with you. So here's my story. For some odd reason, right before picture day every single year, I would get a zit somewhere on my face. One zit, starting when I was 6. And this zit was like right here on my face or right here. It wasn't really raised. It was sort of like a rash, but it was small like a zit. Yeah, I remember going to take my photo, and for some reason when I was 6 I was really proud of it. It was like, oh my gosh, I have a zit. But then it continued every single year afterwards. On school picture day, the day before, a zit would pop out of my skin. Just one. Until I was about 12, and it just kept going. And by the time I was 16 years old, I had full-fledged acne. My skin was really bad. My skin was really red and either extremely oily or extremely dry. Right after I would wash it, my face would be really tight, but then the oil would just like explode on my face and I would have the most oily skin. It was so irritated, and I didn't get bullied because I went to a Christian school and everybody was nice to each other. You don't really hear that in most school situations, but my school, I am so thankful that I had a really nice environment. There was like 1 or 2 cases of people not getting along, but that was rare. Our school was so small that everybody knew everybody got along with each other, everybody hated confrontation, nobody wanted to argue, and it was great. Because of that, nobody gave me any problems about my skin, and I'm really thankful, although I did beat myself up for it. During this time, I tried every kind of skincare you can think of. I started washing my face with like face soaps at like 12, and whatever I used, my skin didn't like it from the get-go. I used Acne Wash from like Neutrogena, Clean and Clear, those kind of brands, and they just kept giving me breakouts. My skin was not responding well to them. I had a lot of redness on my face apart from just the breakouts. I also tried Proactiv. I did that for months and months, and it didn't do a whole lot. And I was doing the steps by the box, exactly by the instructions, and still I had acne. My skin was less red when I started using Proactiv, and I started using it out of desperation because before I started Proactiv, I was using I remember the Neutrogena Grapefruit Skin Cleanser. I love the smell of it. I think it definitely wakes you up in the morning. It gives you that, but for me, my skin was so sensitive to it. I don't know if it was the salicylic acid that's supposed to help you. It's supposed to help your skin. It did not help me. It made my skin really inflamed at the time because my skin was so oily. I had cystic acne, and sometimes it's painful because sometimes you get those raised zits that start from underneath your skin, and it just feels like a bruise located in one little spot, and it just hurts. Sometimes even if you touch it, it's just so painful because it hits a nerve or something. So I remember my mom told me one time that when she was a teenager, she used to sleep in Noxzema when she would get breakouts. My mom only broke out on her forehead, she said, when she was a teenager, except for like maybe 1 or 2 random spots, but everybody gets random spots. And that's not the case for me. My acne, the locations on my face where I broke out were different. See, you can basically see everywhere I had trouble with my skin. Here, my cheeks were pretty clear. I know, don't touch your skin, right? But I would always have it around my mouth. I would have a breakout one time here, which I have a story about here. Okay, so when I was in 6th grade, I had this big, like massive zit right here on the top of my lip below my nose. And I did get made fun of once, and this kid who went to our school called it Jupiter, and it was so painful. It was so red and big, and it started under the skin, and I was so desperate to make it smaller because I didn't want to have Jupiter on my face. So I went home that night, and it was so painful, but I popped it, And I came to school the next day and he's like, oh no, it's Pluto. I was like, oh no, I still have a planet on my face. That's terrible. And then, oh gosh, my skin just got so bad eventually that people are just used to seeing my like planetarium all over my face. But anyways, that's that. I was talking about my mom using Noxzema because she broke out on her forehead. So I decided if my mom thought sleeping in her face wash or her face cleanser or whatever helped her acne, maybe I would try it. But I did it with Neutrogena grapefruit wash acne like soap. I slept in soap and it bleached my pillowcase. It made my skin red completely overnight. I wanted it to work so bad that I kept doing it even though I saw that my skin was red. My skin was so inflamed and like irritated. It was totally bad for my skin, but I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. And so finally, after stopping that, after like a month, my skin broke out the worst it ever did. After doing that, after sleeping in my face wash. So never do that. That was stupid. And I didn't use any kind of moisturizer because my skin was so oily. The second I would wash my soap off, the oil would just like would just explode on my face. And that's when I finally started Proactiv. I feel like I did Proactiv for a while when I was like 17 after the whole grapefruit acne wash thing. And it helped a little bit. It definitely reduced the redness within a day. It didn't get rid of it though. My skin was still bad, still broken out. And I continued through college with my skin like that. My skin was pretty bad till I was about 23, and that was because I finally went to a dermatologist. Through all this time, I did not see a dermatologist. I didn't know what a good skincare was. The options are so vast that I didn't know what to get. I just thought, oh, this product says it helps with acne, so I'll buy that. And my skin is uncooperative. I don't have skin that works with me very well. It's very sensitive. It's very prone to breakouts, prone to redness. So I finally saw a dermatologist. I was 22 or 23 and I talked to the dermatologist about Accutane because I told him everything I'd tried and they're like, okay, we can do Accutane. So finally I was in college. They told me about Accutane, about how there's possibility for suicidal thoughts. So whenever you go on Accutane, you have to have other people aware that you're taking Accutane and looking out for your mental health and your well-being. Thankfully, I didn't have that problem, but it is possible and other people have had it. And another thing, the other biggest thing about taking Accutane is that if you get pregnant while taking Accutane, you will have birth defects. It's not a question of maybe, it's you will have birth defects. The pill that I took is technically called isotretinoin. It is a pill that you take every single day for, depending on how bad your acne is, 6 to 8 months. You don't see results right away, you have to wait a couple weeks, but after a couple weeks you start to see fewer breakouts. Once you start taking Accutane, you have to go through this system online called iPledge to swear in a legal document that you will either take 2 forms of birth control at the same time to prevent pregnancy, or you will commit to celibacy. And I signed I commit to celibacy. That's just what I chose. This prevents pregnancy and birth defects because you don't want to knowingly give a child birth defects. In addition to that, you don't just make the statement online. You have to go into your doctor's office and have your blood drawn every single month before you get a refill of your prescription to do a pregnancy test, basically, in your blood. After the results come back as negative, then you can get your refill. So that's what I did for 6 months. Within 6 months, my skin cleared up. I was so happy with my skin. I had a lot of success with Accutane. I was really happy. I finally learned to use a moisturizer after I washed my face, which felt so wrong at first because my skin was so oily. But once I provided my skin with moisture after I washed it and stripped it of the oils, it got a lot better and it worked really well for my skin. After going on Proactiv and the Neutrogena face wash and Clean and Clear and all of that stuff, my skin was instantly less red in one day. And I had never seen results that fast. I started doing that, my skin was no longer red. I did have breakouts, but the base of my skin was not so inflamed and pink anymore. Once I started taking Accutane, my skin dried out. And even though I was using my moisturizer, my skin became less oily because Accutane dries everything out. It completely takes away the oils, so your skin is left like a desert wasteland. A tumbleweed, like that's what my skin was like. After I stopped taking Accutane, my skin was clear. It stayed clear for a long time, and I still get breakouts from time to time, but it's usually hormonal or because of something I ate. And that's another big component of my acne that I didn't figure out until a long time later. Here's the dietary part of my acne. So I stopped drinking regular milk, and that started to help my skin when I was, I don't know, I was like 20. And I started to try to look for foods that would affect my skin negatively, and milk was one of them. So I knew that dairy is something that made me break out directly. Like within one day of drinking milk, eating yogurt, cheese, ice cream, my skin would break out without fail. And I know you see all these people online, they're like, I can't have dairy, I gotta have soy or rice milk or almond milk. I'm that girl because I'm not trying to be cool. My skin breaks out and I feel bad about myself, and I don't want to feel that way. It also makes me bloated and I don't feel good. If something makes me feel that way, I shouldn't eat it, even if it's what everybody else eats. I'm not going to eat it or drink it because my body is giving me a message that it doesn't like it. And if you find something like that, you shouldn't be eating it. Because why would you knowingly harm your body? I know people drink and stuff like that, but if you know something just doesn't make you feel good and there's alternatives that are just fine, why not take the alternative? So that's what I did with dairy. I found this YouTube channel of two girls named Nina and Randa, and they wrote a book called The Clear Skin Diet, and I bought the book and I found out that what you eat really contributes to how your skin shows. And that makes sense because I'm a nurse. I know that what you do to your body, what you put in your body, reflects on the outside. Your health shows. So it only makes sense that if you're sensitive to certain foods or have an intolerance to certain things, that intolerance is going to show on the outside, which is exactly what happened to me. When I was a teenager, I would have peanut butter jelly sandwiches every day for lunch, but my skin does not respond well to the high oil content of peanut butter and Nutella and similar foods like that. I love peanut butter. I'm pretty upset about it still. So unless it's like a special occasion, I stay away from foods like that because it breaks me out. I was drinking regular milk on a daily basis in high school. That also contributed to how bad my skin was. I found out that with a combination of good skincare, eating the right foods, you can clear your skin up almost completely. And my skin is completely clear now when I don't eat those kinds of foods. Part of what their book says, it brings a really strong point that there are certain parts of the world where people just don't get acne. And I was like, there does have to be something to that. It's not just genetic. A lot of it can be genetic, and part of my acne is genetic. That's why I have sensitive skin. But what I do on a daily basis affects how my skin looks, how I take care of it, and what I eat. And people in parts of the world where they don't have acne, their actions, what they eat, the foods they eat clean. What you do affects how you look and your state of health, and not like physical appearance, like, oh my gosh, Instagram ready. It affects how healthy you look, and I know I want to look healthy. So I try my best to eat and take care of my skin in a healthy way, and I recommend you do the same. Find out what you're sensitive to, what makes you break out, and that's basically where I'm at right now. I have pretty clear skin. I still have scarring, but I don't get a lot of breakouts unless I eat wrong or sleep in my makeup or don't wash my face or moisturize or do something that I know is bad for my skin. So I stick to a routine if I want to have clear skin. That's really what helped me, and I hope my story can help you. If you've taken Accutane or you're thinking about taking Accutane, subscribe, because I will be giving you the list of products and showing you what I did to take care of my skin while I took Accutane, and I hope I can help you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.